Alright, guys. Slumber Party Massacre 2 from 1987, directed by Deborah Brock. What a fucking fun movie, man. Like, this is one of those movies that you just have to wonder, like, who greenlit this movie? Who allowed this movie to exist? Because this movie is just fucking insane. Like, all throughout. Like, there is, like, no plot to this movie. There's just a bunch of random shit, and God, I love it so much. Like, this is one of the most fun 80s slashers, in my opinion. Like, this is such a great watch. Fun every single time. The musical numbers, musical numbers we have in this are fucking awesome too. Everything about this movie I absolutely adore. And one of the props that I've always wanted, and Jason, if you ever see this, I know you want it too. The fucking guitar drill from this movie. Like, I'll even be so generous, Jason. If I ever hit the lottery and I can acquire this, I'll make a copy. I'll give you the original. I'll keep the copy. Just to have that fucking guitar drill. And you deserve the fucking original. So you could take that. So we have fucking the character who plays, the actress who plays Sally in this was in, a year after this would be in Friday the 13th Part 7 as Sandra. And we have Sheila in this, who was Robin in Part 5 of Friday the 13th, who I've always adored her in Part 5. I adore her even more in this because she is so sexy in this movie. Like, all of them, all the four girls are amazingly gorgeous in this movie. So we have Courtney, who's Valerie's sister from the first movie, after surviving that whole massacre. And I forget, even after watching the first one like an hour and a half ago, what their last names were, Valerie and Courtney's last names, but it's Bates in this. Obviously, there's so many horror references in here with the two police officers, Officer Kruger and Officer Voorhees, and Sally's character was named after Sally from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and her last name in this is Burns, just like the actress who played Sally in Texas Chainsaw. So a lot of references to horror movies in here. And Courtney's in high school now, and she's dreaming, having constant dreams of the massacre from the first movie. And her sister Valerie's in a mental institution because she couldn't deal with the trauma and all that from the first one. And just, I wanna be your Tokyo convertible. Dude, how do you not fucking love all the music in this movie? It's amazing. We have them in the band, the four girls that are in some rock band. And like I always point out in movies, fake band, no one's playing any instruments. Like, and there's the driller killer with the guitar in this. He's not playing anything real either. Like, it's not a fucking any bash on the movie, but I point this out in every single movie because I'm a musician. So I just look at the people playing instruments and like, yeah, they're not playing anything. Like, playing a guitar like this for a movie and having your hand like this is not a convincing guitar playing. Like, it's just not. Like, at least move your fingers around. Like, even Sheila, like in the middle of the movie when they're playing for the guys, she's moving her hands like almost like she's playing. Like, it looks like she's almost playing what they're actually playing. So at least she put a little effort in there. But it's just something I'll always nitpick with movies because I'm a musician. And they ended up going for the weekend to Sheila's family's house for Courtney's birthday. And it's weird in this movie that they just, I guess, didn't pay attention to the continuity at all. But she says to Courtney that she was 12 years old when the first movie happened, when the first massacre happened. But she's not. Like, she wasn't. She was like in middle school or something. She was like 15 or something like that. So she wasn't 12. So I don't know what any of that's about. But maybe she's so traumatized that she doesn't even remember her age or remember when this shit happened to her. But she was not 12 years old, like, at all. Because we get that whole ridiculous line in the first one from Valerie that she was beating guys off since the 5th grade. So I don't know. Fucking, She's just a completely different age than she was in the first movie. And none of this matters. Fucking this whole movie is just ludicrous. It's just nonsensical to the extreme. And God, I love it. It's fucking amazing. And the dreams of, she has a dream of Valerie in the hospital telling her to not go all the way. So we have our little slasher trope here of not having sex or you will be brutally murdered. I think it's hilarious that in the car ride up to Sheila's family's place, like we get like a few shots of Courtney looking out the window of the car, and you can clearly see the green screen on the other window behind her in the car, like multiple times. Like they didn't even fucking, they didn't give a shit, man. They were just like, what? Oh, the green screen, I see it like there and there and there. Fuck it, just leave it in there. Like they didn't give a shit about it. So you could clearly see the green screen. Like the whole window was green screen. Like for multiple shots. Like you would think someone editing this or like looking at it, like we can see the green screen there. Like, shouldn't we do something about that? No, leave it in. We'll just chalk it up to the whole nightmares and stuff and blending reality and stuff. I don't know. And then we have Sheila with the grinding on the pole when they start dancing to the music and rips her fucking bra off and just titties galore from Sheila. Oh, she's so gorgeous in this. And just pillow fights and tits. Like every guy always imagined back when they were younger happens at girls' slumber parties. And that's exactly what goes on at every single slumber party ever for girls, I guess. But then we have the cute little callback with the to the first movie when TJ and Jeff are looking through the window when they first get there and they said they died and gone to heaven while they're spying on the girls. Cute little callback to the first movie. Then look, Courtney's trying to sleep and you just hear Sheila and TJ just fucking like all night long. Like that is hard to sleep through, man. If you've ever been in that situation, like been in that house or been somewhere with a bunch of friends and two of them are just like in the next room and they're fucking all night, like it's hard to sleep through that because then you just start playing like your fucking like reel of memories of all your sexual encounters and it creates this Bangkok whorehouse scenario where you're just playing through the great reels and stuff of memories in your head and you can't fucking sleep. How are you gonna sleep through that? Now I got a hard on. Fucking what am I supposed to do? Fucking like come on. Have some respect for the other people in the house. Tone that shit down. Then the driller killer appears for the first time, like in full view and everything, and it's one of my favorite killers in a fucking 80s slasher film. Like by far. Like he's so charismatic, he's so insane, he's just fucking amazing, man. Like there's nothing I can say bad about the killer in this movie. The driller killer is phenomenal in this. Like 100%. Oh, and that's right. And then they change Trish's last name in this from whatever the fuck it was in the first one to Craven. Another little horror reference. I mean, all the horror references here are a little on the nose. Like Officer Voorhees, Officer Kruger. Like, come on. Like, at least, I've said this once before. If you're going to have horror references in your movies, make it a little more subtle. Like naming a town Haddonfield, like that's the next town over, or like anything like that. Like make it a little more subtle than that. Like throw in like some like more deep cut horror references or something like that. But it works. And then we have the blow up sex doll, which is just hysterical. Why is it there? Sheila's brother is a pervert, apparently, is what she says. But just TJ fucking playing around with it and like sucking on Sheila's toes with the blow up doll's mouth. Like, it's so funny. Oh God, how do you not love this movie? Then she has the little 2-second hallucination or whatever of the severed hand in her hamburger, and she has the fucking funniest response to this. Everyone's like, what? She's like, my burger's weird. Like, that's so funny, man. My burger's weird. What's weird about it? There's a severed hand in it. Can't say that. You sound fucking crazy. Which the whole thing with this movie, is it all a dream? Is she in the mental hospital like this whole time? And this is just like a fucking memory that she's having while she's already institutionalized? Was she institutionalized after the massacre from the first movie, and she's been in there the whole time, and this whole movie doesn't really take place at all in reality? Or is it really just this supernatural killer that's coming out of her dreams, and this has actually happened? Who knows? Who cares? Because none of it matters. It's so much fun. And I would love an audiobook of the Hot, Wet, and Wild book that they're reading throughout the movie, narrated and read by TJ. Absolutely. I would read that and I would listen to that in a heartbeat. Just with his whole character and the way he is so stereotypical, like hippie talking of him just, I don't know, man, we should just like get out of here. Like, that's how he talks, but he reminds me of one of the characters from Intruder. I forget his name, but same ways. Like fucking, what's his name? I can't think, but I'm thinking of somebody, and it'll come to me at one point where I'm not recording, and you'll never know what I was talking about. So it works out in my benefit. Then the chicken scene, and she opens the fridge, and the fucking chicken attacks her, and then like I don't even know what that is. Comes like squirting out of its neck. It looks like fucking like chocolate syrup, and she gets it all over her shirt. And then a second later, when she's bringing her friends in to show them. Her shirt's completely clean. Like it is pristine clean. There is not a stain, a mark, nothing on her shirt. So, I don't know. Again, just continuity thrown to the wind, and who cares? And then Sally's big hit that she says is going to make them a whole bunch of money and music videos in their future and stuff is the Pie in the Sky song that she's working on. I don't know, man. Like that. I don't think that's going to be a big hit for them. But then we have Sally with the pimple with Courtney in the bathroom after the blood bathtub and hallucination. And it's all I can really refer to these as is hallucinations or waking, like, you know, like dreams while you're awake or something, like, because none of this makes sense, like I said. But just the effects on that scene, like on her face, on Sally's face, when the pimple's popping, and then like her face just like get like deflated, like from the fucking pus and shit shooting out of her pimple onto Courtney. Dude, that's so gross. That is fucking nasty. It reminds me of Peter Jackson's Dead Alive. Like with some of the scenes in that movie, like this always reminded me of that. Like it is so disgusting. Then Officer Kruger and Voorhees show up, and they don't believe a fucking word of anything that Courtney's saying, and who would, because she sounds like an absolute mental case, man. Like, absolutely. And we see her take a pill at some point. So at the beginning of the movie, her mom was telling her, do you want to go talk to the doctor that her sister Valerie was seeing? So she said, like, she didn't want to go talk to him. So it kind of implies that she never got, like, professional help for, you know, living through that massacre in the first movie. But then we see her taking pills, like in a prescription bottle. So apparently she did get help at some point, and she's on medication. Like, none of that adds up, but whatever. And then the driller killer kills Matt through the chest and rips his arms off, his arm off, and throws it on Courtney's birthday cake. The gore looks awesome in that. Like, with the drill bursting through his chest. And then he must have some fucking Jason Voorhees style, Michael Myers type strength. Because he just drilled him through the chest. And then he just lifts his arm up. That's like severed off. He didn't like cut his arm off. Or anything like that. So, apparently he just like very lightly ripped his fucking arm out of its socket. And then threw it on the birthday cake. Fucking... This whole video is just going to be saying how insane this movie is and how amazing it is for it. But what else can you say about Slumber Party Massacre 2? And I did find Slumber Party Massacre 3 on YouTube, which I said if I can find it, I'll do it. And it's been a long, long time since I've seen the third one, so that'll be an interesting watch. And it's party time, kiddies, when he finally comes into real life. Amazing. And then Sally she's back apparently, because after the pimple thing, like when they called the cops, Sally was missing. They couldn't find her anywhere. Like all of them, not just Courtney, like hallucinating and shit. None of them could find Sally anywhere. Then when Courtney's upstairs with Matt, right before he gets killed, like Sally's just back, and like they don't draw any attention to it. Like nothing. Like you'd think the first thing that you do when you, oh Sally, you're back. Like, Courtney, Sally's all right. Like none of that. Like she's just there again. Then she just gets drilled through the wall. Like the drill goes through the wall through her body and breaks the phone on the other side when they're trying to call for help. Really, really cool. And Amy, Courtney, and Jeff escape in Jeff's car, and the driller killer is in the back seat and drills through the back of the seat into Jeff and kills him right off. And then the cops just hang up on Courtney, which, like, I don't know why Amy didn't make the phone call. Like, they know the cops are there. Like, they know that Courtney was the one that was hysterical and just, like, completely crazy. So why not have Amy call the cops and be like, no, listen, like, Courtney was right. Like, there's something strange going on here. There's someone trying to kill us. Like, I'm telling you, like, I think you would have better chances with that if Amy made the phone call. But they just, like, flat out hang up on Courtney. They're like, I'm not dealing with this. I told you, like, I'm not hearing any more of this. Like, goodbye. He fucking hangs the phone up. Reminds me all the time of Martin Scorsese's After Hours, which is such a criminally underrated, underseen Scorsese film. And it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Anyone hasn't seen Scorsese's After Hours with Griffin Dunn, what a fucking phenomenal movie that is. Like, just a dark comedy, just like real dry humor, but oh, it's so good. And that scene when she gets hung up on by the cops reminds me all the time of a scene in that movie where he's trying to call the cops. He's having the worst night of his life. He just wants to get home, and he's being fucking chased by like a whole gang of fucking like lynch mob people. And he calls the cops and tells the whole story of what's going on, and the cops are just like, just get some sleep, pal. And he hangs up on him, and he's just so tired. He's like, oh wow, and starts banging his head on the phone. Like, I can't believe it. If you haven't seen After Hours, watch After Hours, like 100%. Like, stop this video right now and go find it somewhere, or rent it, do whatever you gotta do. Watch it, because that movie is never talked about, either when someone's talking about Scorsese or in general. Never talked about it. And it's a family favorite of mine, like in my family. Been watching that movie since I was a kid, and it is one of my favorite movies of all time. It is so good. And that whole little side story right there didn't really spoil anything, so you guys can go into it still not knowing really anything that's going on. Then TJ gets killed, and now it's time for the fun part. And then we get Let's Buzz in all its amazing glory, and it's just musical number that this killer just fucking like breaks into, and he does the fucking slide down the banister, but he's like not sliding down a banister like the regular way. He just slides down on his dick, like, which is hysterical. Like, this guy's got like a steel dick. He fucking just like goes down the banister on his crotch. No pain afterwards, nothing. Like I said, he's got to have super strength. He ripped Matt's fucking arm right off with no problem at all. Let's Buzz. Come on, man. How do you not love this movie? Like, if someone said that they were an 80s slasher fan, like a hardcore 80s slasher fan, and they brought up this movie, and they said that this is just trash, and that they don't like this movie at all, I always say you're 100% entitled to your opinion. 100%. I would have so many questions of why. Like, tell me why. Like, tell me the reasons you can't enjoy this movie. Because I'll never understand that. Like, this is just like the most fun fucking slasher movie from the 80s. Like, by far. One of, if not the most fun. Like, it's just completely ridiculous in every way possible. Like I said, how did this movie get made? And in connection with the first movie, a lot more serious, even though I said in that video, it started off as like a parody when she first wrote that first film. But then this one comes out a few years later, 5 years afterwards. Right? Yeah, 5 years afterwards. And it's just a completely different premise. It's just a supernatural killer. Like, you can tell this was influenced by Nightmare on Elm Street, like 100%. But the only connection to the first movie is Courtney and Valerie. That's it. Like, there's nothing else that connects this to the first movie at all. And I don't even remember the third movie really at all to know if there's any connection. And I'm pretty sure there's no connection at all to these first two. And I can't get no satisfaction. He's so fucking great, man. And man, Amy must be in so much pain before she falls to her death. Like, she gets her fucking cheek slit open with the drill, and then he slits her fucking back open. She must be in so much pain before she falls and plummets to her death. Like, poor Amy. Like I said, all four of these girls are fucking gorgeous in this movie. If I had to pick one, though, Sheila, all the way. Just for being Sheila in this and being Robin in Part 5 of Friday, I love her so much. And those tits are stupendous. Are you serious? Like, come on. Like, how can you deny that? And then the whole little chase scene at the end with Can't Stop Loving You playing. And then just when the music stops and Courtney's just like standing there and the killer shows up behind her and he just starts singing the rest of the song. And then the music kicks back in, like, fucking awesome. So good. Then Come On Baby, Light My Fire. Then she lights him ablaze, and the driller killer falls to his death. And then apparently Amy's alive, but has like some crazy fucking cackling scream while she's on the stretcher. Then we have the other dream sequence, whatever the fuck it is, of her with Matt in bed, and you think it was all a dream. Then he turns into the driller killer, and then she wakes up screaming in the mental institution, and the drill starts coming through the floor, and she's screaming and shit. So again, what happened in this movie? I have no fucking idea what happens in this movie. Like, there's not even a clue. Like I said, was she in there the whole time? Like, and after she survived the massacre in the first film, and she just couldn't deal, like, kind of like how they say about her sister in this, about Valerie, and she just ended up in a mental institution, and then just hallucinated or dreamt all of this, and that's what we see is just one big mental institution hallucination / dream? Or did this really happen? I have no clue. I can't take a guess. And I really don't care, because this movie is amazing in every single way. Just hilariously bad in every way. But I mean, come on, man. Slumber Party Massacre 2. Like, how do you not love this movie? Like I said multiple times already. And even the end credits of this movie is fucking hilarious. Like on the end of like all movies, when it says like distribution of this without permission, stuff is against copyright, and you're subject to severe penalties, and they add in a midnight visit from the driller killer. That's fucking awesome, man. Come on. Like, awesome stuff. Even the credits are hilarious in this. Just for that fucking line. You will get a visit from the driller killer if you distribute this picture without the fucking rights to it, and you will be drilled and murdered to death. So, Slumber Party Massacre 2, what a fucking amazing movie. What a hilariously bad movie. What an amazing 80s slasher film, and I absolutely adore this movie. Much more than the first one. Like, much more. I still haven't seen the remake of Slumber Party Massacre that was on Sci-Fi last year. I don't even know if it's worth it to watch that, because like I said with when I did Jeepers Creepers 3 and Return to Sleepaway Camp, I just have a bad track record, man, with fucking ignoring new entries or remakes in a series that I love, and then finally watching it because I'm doing a franchise or a series and it being just abysmal and suffering through it, and then having to do like a rant on here about it. So I don't know, if it's streaming somewhere, maybe I'll check it out for the first time and see how I feel about it. But Slumber Party Massacre 3 coming up next, and more slashing and killing and all that great stuff coming up in the weeks to come. So I will see you guys soon with Slumber Party Massacre 3 to close out this amazing franchise. Take care.